Anin bojo, Negamon animquique Indigenous, animquique Adojan, Kitigan Zibi, Maniwaki, Quebec, Algonquin, Mohawk, French and Irish, Adonjibas, Animquique Adodam. Hi, and my spirit sees you. My spirit name is the Song of Thunder Woman. My clan is from Kitigan Zibi, which is in Maniwaki, Quebec. I am Algonquin and French on my father's side. I am Mohawk and Irish on my mother's side. My spirit animal is the Thunderbird. I often wonder how to start my story, and I usually start as going back to a little 5-year-old girl. I am part of the 60s Scoop, which was back in the 60s when the government, the police, the Catholic Church decided that they were going to take Indigenous children out of their homes. Their goal was to take the Indian out of the child. In doing so, they placed myself, my siblings, in white foster homes. We were moved around all the time to different homes, some good, some bad. So life wasn't always kind to me, but I tried to make the best of it as I could as a little girl, as a teenager, even as a young woman. I knew I was Indigenous, but I didn't really know much about my culture because it was stripped away when we were scooped up. I knew nothing of the language. I knew nothing of the customs, nothing of the regalia, nothing even about powwows, nothing. It was completely robbed. In the early 70s, my sister and I had the honor, so we thought at the time, of being on a TV show called Family Finders. They put Indigenous children on the show to try and match them up with one white home. They interviewed us and let nature take its course to see who would be suitable for us. We also were in a newspaper article. It was called Today's Child. At the time, as a little kid, I thought this was great. We were like superstars. But now today, as a proud Indigenous woman, I see that they were just really trying to sell us. It was just like putting a dog up for adoption in a newspaper, telling you all its good and bad traits, trying to find a home. I see that now. So really, it wasn't very good. It was many years later that I was reconciled with my mother and my father. So I was 5 years old when I was taken away. No warning, no nothing, just scooped up and taken away. Never to see my parents again, except for my father, a few visits. But then the Children's Aid said that was too much for me because I cried and cried for days later. What little child wouldn't? When I was reunited with them, it took me right back to that little 5-year-old girl again. When I first heard my dad's voice on the phone, we just talked for hours and I cried and I cried. That next weekend he came to visit me and it was like no time had passed. Being reunited with him and learning his hurt and his trauma, he didn't share much with me, but what he did stays with me. He was part of the residential school. There is cycles and traumas that are passed down generationally from residential school to 60s Scoop survivors. But thankfully, I can try and break these chains and traumas with my own children and then their children to their children. It needs to stop. And someone needs to stand up and be the person to break that chain. I have found my voice both in speaking and in singing. I have a partner who has been amazing in helping me with my music. I never thought in my 61 years that I would, first of all, ever be speaking, let alone singing and writing music. I have written 3 songs now about my culture, about injustices to the Indigenous people, and my healing journey of my 60s Scoop. And I had no training, nothing. It just came to me. And I did pray, Creator, give me a song. So he gave me 3. So I'm very thankful for that. And I am working on an album. People ask me all the time to play a song that I wrote called Redskin. And it is my 60s Scoop story. And it just really speaks to their souls. So they tell me, so that is great. I often speak at the Durham Catholic schools, both the high school and public. When I was first offered to speak at the schools, I thought, hell no, I'm not doing this. Your church is part of the problem that caused this. So I was a little angry, but I did some deep soul searching and I thought, wait a minute, this could be a great opportunity to help myself heal more and to educate the children. So I got really excited about this, and it was just a great opportunity to heal and to teach about truth and reconciliation. As we were coming up on the 2 years of the Truth and Reconciliation. And by the way, wearing an orange t-shirt doesn't just happen on June 21st. This is something we live every day. So when you just pull out that orange t-shirt on June 21st, think about the people, the residential school survivors, the 60s Scoop survivors who live this every day. I also like to speak at events. I've been to powwows, I've been to 60s Scoop events, and I really enjoy telling my story and getting to meet the people, and they just make me feel so loved, and just to touch one person's heart makes a big difference. They're so very remorseful of what has happened and so apologetic, and I'm often telling them, it's not your fault, you didn't know. But it just means the world to me that there are good people out there and people that want to know the truth and people that are trying to make a difference and being apologetic. Also, I had 2 radio announcements with Ben Mulrooney on the 680 AM radio station. Those were 2 great interviews that I got to share a little bit of me. Along life, I've had to face many obstacles in my life. I had my oldest son that passed away on June 21st, which is Aboriginal Day. So that is really a bittersweet day for me. But I hold it, it's kind of sacred to me that I can carry my son forth and also share about my 60 Scoop story. I've also had to deal with addictions in my family, and I'm thankful and blessed that it didn't attack me personally, any kind of addictions, which sadly has robbed so many of our Indigenous people. Addictions, alcoholism, drug abuse. This is trauma that has been sent down through the generations from residential schools that has happened to our people, that is then passed down to their children, which are 60 Scoop survivors. Along my journey the last 2 years, I have found my voice. I speak for those that can't, but most importantly, I share my story to those who don't know the truth that was kept from us in school, truths that are being swept under the carpet, and now within the last 2 years that are just coming to light. I share my story to bring a message of hope, a message of healing, to educate, to be a voice for those that don't have a voice. And I always have this motto with me. In my life now, I choose to be better, not bitter. So I come to you in hoping that I have taught you just a little bit about the 60 Scoop, but there's so much more to my story and so much more to many other Indigenous people that have followed the same hurts and traumas that I have. So thank you for your time. Miigwech.